Hello, it's Jack Tutor here of Attention Magazine. Welcome to Crucial Listening, the podcast where I speak with musicians and sound artists about 3 albums that are important to them. My guest this time is Nina Garcia, a guitarist based in Paris who has a new album out now on Ideologic Organ, Bye Bye Bird, the first under her own name, having previously recorded a record under the pseudonym Mariachi. You know those experiences where you fixate on something so closely that it ceases to look like itself? That's precisely what seems to be happening with Bye Bye Bird. Nina uses very reduced materials, so just a guitar, an amplifier, and also an electromagnetic microphone that's held in her strumming hand, which allows this extreme isolation of the point of contact with the guitar. And it feels like you're often hearing the disassembly of the guitar, like the strings unpeeling from the body, everything returning to its fundamental state. And she never seems to rush. Often we are confronted with particular figures for upward of 4, 5, 6 minutes. And she just keeps pressing inward, interrogating the materials, to the point where it feels both really visceral and really surreal as well. It is a corker, and I could have asked, as I often say, so many questions about just the record specifically, but we kept it to just a handful so that we could talk about Nina's 3 important records. And what was nice is that she picked 3 records that were recent discoveries. So often this podcast is about those deep set loves, which is fabulous, but this was a really nice, refreshing take. So I hope you enjoy this episode, and if you're enjoying the podcast generally, you can support it over at Ko-fi, ko-fi.com/crucial listening. There's a link in the show notes as well. You can donate some money once off or monthly, any amount you please, and any amount is absolutely fine. Just helps keep the podcast ticking. Thank you so much. And thank you if you said nice things about the podcast, or you're just enjoying it quietly to yourself. That's fabulous too. Thank you. Okay, here we go then. This is Nina Garcia on Crucial Listening. Hello Nina, welcome to Crucial Listening.
Hi Jack, thanks.
Thanks for coming on the podcast. You're here to talk about 3 important albums. Before we get to those, I want to ask about your new album, Bye Bye Bird, which is out now on Ideologic Organ. So I understand this record took a long time to make, which is interesting to hear because when I listen to it, it feels so present tense. It's like being in the room with you for a lot of the album. So I'm really fascinated to know more about the fact that it took a long time to put together. So, I mean, do you have any thoughts as to why it took a bit of time to come together?
I don't know if it took a long time to make. I say that because it's in regards of how I work usually. Usually I used to improvise a lot. I was doing mainly free improvisation, alone and also with other musicians. So that means that most of the time what we recorded was live, or for the last LP I released in 2018. It was not really improvised, but it was I just took some part of the last improvisations and tried to do another improvisation with that. So it was fast process. And this LP I've just released is really different because it's all compositions. So that means I took for me a lot of time to compose them and to compose the species, and also to take the time to adjust, to dive into the pieces and dive into the way I wanted to use the guitar for this special LP. So in fact, it just took me maybe I started to work on the LP in November 2023, and I recorded in July. So I don't know if it's long or not.
Right, gotcha. Do you remember the first piece you recorded for the album? And what are your memories of recording it as well?
The first piece I wrote was the first one, Bye Bye Bird. And just after, maybe the second one, Le Lair. Those two are really here since a long time, and they are two tracks that are really dear to my heart somehow.
Yeah, I love Le Lair particularly. I mean, on this record, you're using a electromagnetic pickup. Is it in your right hand when you're playing your guitar?
Yes, totally. Yeah.
Yes, cool. So when did this pickup become part of your practice, and how has it changed your interaction with the guitar?
In fact, I think I used this pickup since maybe 3 years, but I was more working with it and trying to to do something with it alone. I wasn't playing this in public, and since 1 year I'm more satisfied with it. And it's really a tricky tool. I feel that using this pickup is like a balancing act for me, like a tightrope walker, you know.
Yeah.
Because it catches the sound in a really little place, maybe like half inch and half inch. And so that means that I have to be really attentive on the little gesture my hand is doing. So for me, it was super interesting to work with that, and it drive me to another place of using the guitar. As I used to have a really physical way of playing. I mean, I was moving a lot, bending the guitar, bending the neck, and now I have to be really like focus on the gesture of my hand, my right hand.
Wow.
So yeah, it's quite different for me, and it took a long time to be satisfied and to find a way to use all this new movement and new sounds. And yeah, I'm really excited about that.
I want to ask you about the sequencing of the album as well. I love how the album is sequenced and the ordering of the tracks. So you've got that lovely transition from a delicate piece like Ballade de Souffle, which feels like it was kind of recorded at a distance, and then you go into the noise of Pickup Tentative, which feels like it's pressing into my face. So could you tell me about sequencing this album? Did it take a long time to decide on the ordering of the tracks, or did it come together quite quickly?
No, it was quite quick, because I think I composed the piece in regard of the other ones.
Right.
So yeah, somehow for me all the LP is one piece. But of course it's separated tracks. But I could say it's one piece. So for example, the Pickup Tentative, which is a really noisy track, as born because there were this Ballade des Souffles before, which is really soft and maybe warm and maybe a bit emotional little track. And I wanted to do a big rupture after that, so I went into this noise really yeah, punch in the face track. So it was not hard to sequence. Some of the track I composed, I just removed them because at the end I was not happy with them. But most of the LP has always been like this.
Nice. And the harmonies on the album are absolutely gorgeous. So I love the collision of notes you have on a track like Le Lair. It doesn't sound like equal temperament to me. So I wanted to ask about how you approach tuning the guitar. Like, do you use a particular system, or are there any particular ideas that inform how you approach tuning your instrument?
Oh yeah, I have a specific tuning, so it took some years, I would say, to know what kind of tuning I was comfortable with, and so during some years it was quite hazardous. Like I was just letting the guitar and tune and just take it as it was. And now I have really this specific tuning since maybe 3 years, 4 years, and I really like it. And I adjusted a bit for the LP because I wanted to be able also to play melody and harmony. So to have a more specific discussion between some strings. So my tuning is, I mean, the principle is just like the bass string are really low, and the high ones are higher. But of course, they interact together. So I tune it to be able also to have beatings and ability to play some melodies.
So good. I'm intrigued by the name of the album as well, Bye Bye Bird. So I see that Bye Bye Bird is also a harmonica-driven blues song by Willie Dixon and Sonny Boy Williamson too.
Yeah.
The second, sorry, that came out in 1963. There's a video, I think, of Williamson playing the song on Belgian TV, and he's alone on stage and he's singing and playing the harmonica and constantly moving his hands and mouth to change the harmonica's sound. And that kind of raw, reduced interaction with a single instrument reminded me of your live performances as well. So I don't know whether that's relevant to how you came to the name of the record, but could you tell me about where the name of the album comes from?
Yeah, you get it all.
Wow.
Yeah, totally. Congrats. It's really a reference to that song by Sonny Boy Williamson too, which I really like. And he said he wrote in homage to Charlie Parker, who died really young, maybe 35 or something like this. And so this track is really talking about, of course, grieving and a brutal death somehow. And also I was fascinated by this solo instrument alone, face to silence. And I think that I really feel like that when I was composing these tracks. So yeah, at the same time, because of the subject and because of the discussion between a solo instrument and the silence, I felt it was a good title and an homage too.
Brilliant. I have one more question on your record, Nina.
Yeah.
So I understand you've been exploring the electric guitar in this kind of way since 2015. How has your approach to live performances changed in that time? Do you feel like you're still exploring the same ideas as you were 10 years ago, or do you feel like you're relating differently to the live experience now?
I think this LP and the work I made to release this LP changed some part of my work and my link to live experience, because as I said, I have to be more attentive on the right hand, and also I play more melody now, and I added to my, let's say, classical vocabulary, which is not classical at all, but yeah. I added to this vocabulary that was more noise and a lot of materials, raw materials. I'm more able now to play also with harmonics and melody and consonants. So this changed a lot for me, and also now because of this pickup in my right hand, I play sometimes seated, which is quite weird for me. But I like it. I think it's just another vibe, and it's more sincere and true with what I feel now and what I want to play and how I want to interact with the audience. So I don't think it's a rupture. I think it's a continuity, but it's just I'm maybe expanding a bit what I can do and what I want to do.
Great. The record is so good. I will put a link in the show notes so people can go check it out. Like I say, it's out now on Ideologic Organ. People should go and dive in. It's wonderful. Nina, let's go to your important records now. So there's one question I like to ask at this point, which is about how you thought about the word important when picking your list of albums. So was there a way that you understood the word important in order to come up with the list of records that you did?
Yeah, in fact, that's quite funny because I think I took a lot of freedom regarding this word, and I somehow not forget it, but I don't know. I didn't focus too much on importance because maybe I didn't wanted to talk about ancient records.
Mm-hmm.
Because of course I have, as always, recordings that made a rupture for me when I was a teenager, discovering experimental music and all. But I wanted to talk about more actual stuffs and also how the community around is important to me somehow. And so I picked 3 records I just discovered recently, in fact, and 2 of them are really recent records, and one of them is more ancient, but I discovered it a few weeks ago. So, yeah.
Wow. Oh, that's so cool. Okay, I love that. Let's go for your first important record then, Nina. Which one did you want to talk about first?
Allez, let's take Garcia del Sol.
Yeah, Garcia del Sol. So Upgrade and Afterlife. So maybe start by giving me an introduction to why this album is important to you.
Yeah. So in fact, I was in tour with my friend Arnaud Rivière. We have a band together called Auto Reverse, and Arnaud is really a big music. He has a lot of knowledge in music. So each time we go on tour together, he put so many records on the car, and I listen a lot of stuff with him. And so he put this Upgrade and Afterlife from Garcia del Sol, and I didn't know this record, in fact, really, and it was really a blast for me. So I listened to it almost every day since I'm back home.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really a great album. It's also quite funny to discover stuff that have been made like 30 years ago.
Yes, yeah.
But hey, that's life. I was 6 at this time, so. But I think it's a really complex and at the same time so simple album, in the sense that for me it's kind of a piece of life where you go from an emotion to another, from a place to another, and you just follow the vibe, you just follow the music. And it's really, at the same time, the composition is complex, but you access to it in a really great simplicity. I feel it like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have a favorite track on the album?
It's super hard to say because I think it's a whole piece.
Yeah.
So one track you like it because it's answer to another one, and there are all those tracks with raw guitar in a really Fahy style. I think there is a Fahy cover. In fact, I think the last track is a Fahy cover.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
oh, wow.
I think so. Yeah.
Huh.
But I really like the C inserting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
My accents. And this just raw melody at the piano really catch from really close. I mean, it's a close catch of the sound. And at the same time, there are all those maybe field recordings coming from super far away and getting louder and louder, and I think it's, I don't know, you feel really close from the music, and you have the feeling to be with them on an apartment, or I don't know, it's really emotional.
So one of my favorite parts of this record is how you basically said this, but it opens up as the listener moves through it. So every track feels like it expands the possibility of what the record can be. and it never stops until you get to the final track. Like, you're always learning about what this album can be. And I get something similar from your album, like where every track seems to bring in new textures or new techniques, and then it expands the world of the record. So I wondered whether that was a reason why maybe you connected with Upgrade and Afterlife as well.
Yeah, I think probably I've been moved by this aspect. Of course, it's super different because my record is just raw guitar. On all the LP and on Garcia, Upgrade and Afterlife, they are using so many techniques and instruments. But I have a feeling that you just follow the life of the artists with all these different emotions and thoughts we have in life. Like, bad stuff in life is just following beautiful stuff, just like with brutality. I mean, that's life. And I think that this album of Garcia is like this. And maybe there is a link. At least for my record, I think I was jumping from maybe beauty to darkness, and just in a second. And I think life is like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, all of the Gasta del Sol records are excellent. I can't believe you've just heard this a few weeks ago. That's really exciting.
Yeah,
so I guess
that's crazy.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
I'm not a digger at all.
Have you heard any of their other records at this point, or just this one?
I've heard Camoufleur too.
Oh, brilliant! What did you think of that one?
I like it too, but I prefer Upgrade and Afterlife. I think it's more reduced. It's a compliment.
Yes, yeah. And obviously the two main people in this are David Grubbs and Jim O'Rourke, who do so much wonderful music in their own right. Have you heard much from either Jim or David in other contexts? Like, do you connect with their music as well?
Yes, a bit. I really like the Jim O'Rourke work on the guitar, of course. The bad timing. I don't know the name of this record. It's really amazing too, with this really Fahy style guitar added to really complex orchestration. And there is a big link with Upgrade and Afterlife in the way the LP is composed, because you also really follow Jim O'Rourke in his drive, and you really go with him in different places of emotions and thoughts. And I really like that. I think it's quite amazing to be able to do that, to be able to have this Fahy classic guitar stuff and suddenly like an orchestration with big horns and full of joy. And it's quite impressive.
Yeah. Is there anything else you wanted to say about Upgrade and Afterlife before we move to your next record, Nina?
I can't wait to listen to it again.
Okay, let's go to your second important album then. Which one do you want to go for now?
Let's talk about Geometry, Nebulosa.
Yeah, okay. So start by giving me an introduction as to why this one's important to you.
Yes. So I'll talk about the same tour I was talking earlier with my friend Arnaud. It was a 10 days tour, and the three first concerts was in there were also this band Geometry on the bill, so we spent the 3 days all together. They are a French band living in the south of France, and so I have the opportunity to see 3 times their concerts, which is also a performance, and be able to talk with them about the music and all. We already knew each other before, but it was the first time we really we were really able to meet and have a long time discussion.
Nice.
So it was important to me to talk about that, because I feel that, as I said, of course there are like big names that everybody can talk about, like some artists that are really well known, that are influencing you somehow. But I feel that I'm most influenced by all the people I meet all along in life, and all the people that are part of the underground community and the experimental community. And I feel that all these concerts I see and all this discussion I have with the my communities, finally, is as important and even more important that listening, the classical. No, not the classical. I don't want to sound negative, because it's not.
Yeah.
But for example, I've been. I like a lot, like all the no wave scene in New York in the 80s. Also the John Fahey and a lot of guitarists. But those person, I mean, they are well known and everybody talks about them. And I feel that, yeah, I'm also a lot influenced by the community.
So, do you have a favorite track on this record, Nebulosa?
I think it's, in fact, which I like in this record, is also a bit that it's like for Garcia and Soul. It's an old piece, and every track is so different. They are using tape recorders, so they record some music. They use also some materials already recorded by other people. They sing. The concert is also a performance. They are somehow dancing, not dancing, but moving.
Oh, wow.
And they have a really beautiful scenography. So it's really hard for me to separate one track from the other ones. But if I had to say one or maybe two, can I do that?
Of course you can.
I like a lot Stellar, which is a really soft song, and way they play it in live, they are together, front of each other, and one mic is just between them, and they are going front and far away from the mic while singing and while playing the tape recorder. So there is something really subtle and beautiful with the diffusion of the sound, which I like. And I think also the song is really beautiful. And I also like one of the last songs called Lumini si Umbre, which is the end of the performance, and it's a so cute song and beautiful, and it's really stay in your mind.
Yes.
After some more noisy parts and abstract parts, it's really beautiful.
Yeah, I was singing that one in my house all day yesterday.
Yeah. During the tour, it was all day.
I found so little information about the album or the players when I searched online. So it's really nice to hear that, these are people within your community, and it sounds like you spent a bit of time with them. What can you tell me about the two people within the band? Like, have they been in other bands as well before this one? Like, have they been in your scene for a long time?
Yeah, they are around since a long time, and they are doing a lot. So their name is Mia Trifa and Gaël Gitar. Gaël is also part of Bonne Humeur Provisoire, for example, which is a band that grew a lot here since a long time. And Mia is also doing piece in solo. And in the pieces I've seen from her before, she always have something with the diffusion of the sound. For example, she was doing a piece in quadrophony, but with a diffusion, the speakers were on backpack.
Wow!
And so the people, it was on the countryside in a really natural area, and so we were following the bag keeper, and they were doing a sort of a kind of choreography.
Wow!
And it was really beautiful. And Gael also have this label, Animal Biscuit, with other people too, and they are releasing a lot of stuff, really interesting. Yeah, and Mia is
Brilliant.
also a winemaker, which is amazing.
Oh,
Her wine is as delicious as their music.
that's brilliant. Um, I've loved getting to know this album, and
Great.
like I say, there's a few melodies on here which are really catchy. There are also a few passages that I actually found almost frightening, quite
Yeah.
unsettling. They remind me a little bit of like Aaron Dillaway and the way that Aaron makes, so they make the tape sound really sticky and gooey and like you could touch it. It would be slimy. It's really nice.
Yeah, and
Um,
in live they also have a super nice light setup, and you are really it's really mesmerizing to see them live.
oh wow. Are there videos of them playing live online? I need to look for
I
these.
didn't look for videos, but probably I think you can find
I
some.
need to see these.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wondered if you could tell me about the kind of sensations that the record brings to you. I mean, you've mentioned the fact that this album is very much a journey from beginning to end. What kind of sensations happen to you whilst you're listening to this record?
Mm, I think it's really also a dreamy record. I think
Mm,
they, there is a lot of room for people imagination in this music, and I think
mm,
probably every person will dream to something different, but I feel that also it's really an inner music. I don't know, there
yeah.
is something at the same time expanding on the world, and also they have something with the cosmos and like a cosmic journey, and but at the same time I feel that I have the feeling to be transported at home, you know, like in a really inner journey.
Yeah.
Really, so yes. Also, they are singing in Romanian because Mia
Right.
is Romanian, French Romanian, and so I think there is something with with this language which I don't understand. At the same time, I've often the impression to catch some word which is not true, of course, because it reminds me about the Italian and sometimes about the Slava. So I think in terms of imagination, for me, it's also something really particular. This specific language,
Yeah.
and so yeah.
So this record came out last year, and I love that you have taken the word important and said, I'm going to talk about 3 recent discoveries. That is fabulous. And a lot of people that I interview, and I think when I think about, important records to me, I immediately go back to my teenage years, and it sounds like you have lots of records that affected you as a teenager as well.
Yeah,
But
sure.
have you found that music affects you differently as you get older? I think we're a similar age, so I'm curious about this. Are albums and is music still affecting you as deeply or in the same way as it did when you were younger?
Oh yes, I think it still affects me deeply, and of course I'm not listening the same stuffs, and the music that is moving me is not the same, but it's still I still have the same need of music and the same deep and necessary, yes, emotions and feelings and sensations when I listen to music, and yeah, I think it's quite necessary to me.
Hmm, wonderful. Nina, is there anything else you wanted to say about this album before we go to your final one?
No, just go check it out.
Llama del mundo. Ai suntem doar noi, plutind ca și nori, dansăm ca și voi.
Okay, your final important record. So if you could tell me what it is and then also why it's important to you as well, that would be great.
So the last album I pick is an album from the band Officine, which is also a French band, and the name of the album is De E, To He. I don't know if they say that in English or in French. And it's an album released in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
So it's also quite a recent album. This one I didn't discover it now. I mean, I listened to it right after its release. And yeah, I wanted to talk about the two because Officine, so it's three person. Marion Camille Palou, which is the singer and guitarist. Kozo Komori, who is the drummer. And Christophe Provincial, who is the bass player. And the three of them are also really part of the French scene, underground scene. And also, and more even because they used to be all three in Paris or around Paris. So they are really part of this community. And I think this band is just great. I really like this album a lot. I think they did a really good job because it's not easy to record noise rock. Their live are so intense and so communicative, and I really like this band in live. So sometimes it's hard to record to listen to a record when you like the lives, and I think the record is really good. So yeah.
Yeah. So you mentioned you heard this one first like a few years ago. Do you remember how you first discovered it? It sounds like you just knew, these players are all in Paris, right? So
yeah, we just go to the same concert and to the same bars and we have a friend in common, so I even don't remember how we meet. But we share a lot. I mean, Marion is doing a super great noisy guitar playing, so yeah, we have a lot in common and a lot to discuss.
Do you have this, again, this question always feels slightly inappropriate, especially with these picks, but do you have a favorite track?
Yes, it's more easier for me on this one to pick a track because of course it's a whole record, but I think it's easier to take one and listen to it for what it is, just this track.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like the sixth track called Ciel 6.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Which I'm not sure what it means. I really like because Kozo, the drummer, is really amazing. He's a really great drummer, and in this track he's doing a really rhythmic stuff in the drum, really dry. And he's doing the same all along the track, and it's really stubborn.
Yeah,
obstinate.
nice.
Yeah,
lovely.
He's really obstinate and all along, all over the track, and the bass is amazing, and Marion at the guitar is really doing high pitch and noisy and distorted, no wave. Crazy guitar, and I really like it a lot.
Nice. The vocals on this album are so amazing as well.
And she's not using any pedals. It's just her voice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Gosh.
She moves.
Whenever I think of this record, I think of that vocal bit where she's going like woohoo, like that.
It's yeah.
The most. It's quite unsettling, but it's so enjoyable.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I was really happy to see that you picked this record. I think I got it a couple of years ago. A friend recommended it to me. It feels like everyone in the band is doing weird things with their instrument. Like they're kind of a rock band, but they're doing something to kind of bend their instrument. It's almost like they're holding them upside down or something. Are there any other bands that make you feel a similar way to Officine?
Oh, I really like the noise, rock noise English scene around Leeds and all, like the Nape Neck, the
Right.
Gutter Snipe, is
Yeah. Oh,
Gretchen
yeah.
and Bobby.
Yeah.
I think Gutter Snipe, I don't remember, but the name of the record, but it's just amazing, and it's the same. It's at the same time, as you said, they are all bending their instruments, but at the same time, there is something really going forward and really precise and rhythmic. And for me, it's a amazing match.
Yeah. My Mother the Vent. Yeah.
My Mother the Vent.
God, it's
My
so
Mother the Wind.
good. Oh my gosh. Yeah, the guitar on the album is on this Officine record is amazing as well. And like I say, sometimes it just doesn't feel like listening to a guitar. Like I find my mind picturing a completely different instrument, and it reminded me of a quote that I read from an interview with you with Shape in 2019, where you talked about that you were starting to consider the instrument, being the guitar, in all its aspects and played with all its parts: wood, plastic, metal, still the strings, of course, but mainly the mics and the electricity, which is such a lovely turn of phrase. Do you still think about the guitar in this way, or has your relationship with the instrument changed since then?
No, totally. I'm still working with the guitar in this way. I mean, once you've discovered that you have so many opportunities on an instrument and possibilities on an instrument, I would not restricted the.
Yes,
yeah. So, but what I did is just I just found a new way for me, to include to this guitar playing, to add also more notes. It's really strange because somehow it's normal not to use notes when you're playing the guitar, but for me it was quite surprising and unstable. So and I like it. I feel now I have even more possibilities.
I have one more question for you.
Yeah.
Which is about how you interact with music as a listener, in the sense of, I tend to break this question down into several parts. Where do you tend to buy your music?
Mainly in concerts.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I unfortunately I don't go that much to record shop, and I mainly buy records after a concert. Yeah, after having to have seen live, or as I said, I'm not a big digger. I discovered the music because I'm going to concerts, and it has always been like this. So what I know is where I've been.
That's so nice though, because it means that your collection of records is almost like a diary of the concerts you've seen as well, which is really nice. Are there particular formats that you prefer?
I like vinyls and tapes, but vinyls are starting to be a bit expensive, I have to say.
Yes,
So
yeah.
tapes are also great. And of course, as everybody, I do also digital. Yeah.
And where do you tend to listen to music as well?
No, I listen a lot of music at home, because also it's there where I have my all my gear to. I mean the tape machine
Yeah.
and the turntable and all, and also because I listen to a lot of music, but when I'm doing stuff like working or cooking or I don't know what, I don't listen that much of experimental music. I listen to more rock music or all other kind of music. And when I really want to listen to a record I bought, I take a proper time to that, and I just like sit on the couch and listen,
Nice.
which is great, but not often.
Okay, Nina, this has been amazing. You picked 3 really cool records. I've been having, as I said, just an absolutely great time with your album as well. Thank you so much for your music and your energy and your conversation. This has been great.
Thanks a lot, Jack. Thanks.
To everyone listening, I'll see you next time. Goodbye.